Welcome to Sex with Rebecca, a show geared towards relationships and sexuality that'll help you enjoy your relationships more than you ever thought possible. So send us your difficult questions and we'll bring you expert answers unlike anywhere else. On tonight's show, we'll be discussing jealousy, answering an email from a man who's considering having an affair, and telling you about 10 things that men do in bed that women wish they didn't. Let's begin with our discussion on jealousy with our very special guest, dear Sybersue, dating and relationship coach, talk show host, author, and advice columnist who tells it like it is. Welcome. It's so great to be chatting with you. So delighted to have you joining us tonight.
Thanks, Rebecca. Great to see you.
Awesome. Now, jealousy has been so misunderstood over the years. It's moved from proof of caring to something that's intolerable. Either way, it's hardwired in us when we feel there's a threat to losing someone we care about. So perhaps you could start off the interview by commenting on why it's that different people behave differently. Do some people just seem to be jealous by nature, regardless of who they're with? And if so, where's that coming from?
Well, jealousy is a natural emotion that we all have. And some of us deal with it a little bit better as the years go by. Like you see little kids when they're running around when they're toddlers, and all of a sudden they start to get jealous because somebody's getting more attention than them. So it develops over the years. But as I say, we all have a little bit of it in us. Even animals have it in them, right? So what happens is it's how your childhood develops. How secure you feel as a kid is a big one.
And if you haven't felt secure, then obviously, it's like it's a demand and supply thing. There isn't enough of love or whatever it is to go around. So naturally, that makes sense that child would be a bit more scared, a bit more prone to jealousy. Now, how about when it suddenly becomes a big problem? So you're talking about gradually, but how about when it suddenly becomes a big problem in one's relationship? Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, well, what happens when it's sudden, it's not necessarily a big problem within you that's been there for a long time. It could be the partner you're with. So if you're with somebody that is playing games a little bit, or they're using certain tactics to get your attention in the jealousy department, I don't know, whether to make them feel more powerful or in more control of the relationship. And that's when you have to start looking at your partnership and say to yourself, is this really where I want to be? Because if I'm feeling jealous with that one person only, then there's something going on within the dynamics of us as a couple.
That's an important point because what you talked about before was, it's something that develops, but if it's sudden like that, then it's telling that it's got to do with the relationship dynamic, or is my partner doing something? And often that has to do with game playing, and like you said, making yourself appear more valuable. I have a lot of clients where they'll say that my partner never complimented me. They did until they had me, and then they didn't want them to know. And that was sort of jealousy in a different way too. Let's go to sex next, because in romantic relationships, jealousy seems to hijack the brain to that place. How do you think our sex lives play a part in jealousy within the relationship?
Sex is a really big part of jealousy because if your relationship isn't going smooth and there's problems in other areas within your relationship, and then it goes into the bedroom. Because what happens if you have an insecurity with your partner, because maybe where you are in your life, things aren't going super well for you or for them, it could be for them too, that sex can become a bit of a weapon. And if you're not feeling very secure about who you are, when you get naked in the bedroom with your partner, all of a sudden you're sitting there going, just these insecurities come out of nowhere. And so what can happen is it can really start tarnishing your partnership because you don't feel secure with them on an emotional, romantic level anymore. Or at that particular time.
At that moment, yeah. And, if you're feeling insecure to begin with, suddenly you have disrobed, so you're more exposed physically, but you're also more exposed emotionally as well. So it makes sense that that's where it plays out, much like anything else. And there's also that jealousy aspect, like let's say our partner checked someone out a little too long. A lot of my clients will say there's the glance and then there's the leer. And let's say they leered, and then you're in bed, it's crazy how that moment can kind of come back, and it's like, are you thinking of that person? How am I similar or
Yes.
different? Can you comment on that?
Well, yeah, you're right. Are they thinking about that other person while they're with me? Are they more attracted to that body type? And so then you become insecure about your body image because they might be checking somebody out that looks different to you. And it's also just it's sort of a bit of a powerhouse thing too when you're in the bedroom. And if you're not feeling comfortable and balanced with your partner, the minute you get into the bedroom, all of a sudden it really takes over everything about you, and you start feeling not adequate enough. Your self-esteem is taking a toll.
Yeah, that's huge, isn't it? So let's
Yeah.
say if someone is feeling jealous, like they're afraid that their partner pays too much attention to others, would the jealousy make them do certain things? For instance, sometimes people can be withholding, or on the flip side, the gymnastics they're willing to do can go through the roof because they're trying to prove a point that they're more worthy or what have you. So if someone is jealous, can their behavior change outside of the insecurities?
Yeah, I think that's where communication comes in with your partner. So if you're not talking to your partner, you're at different places in your life within your partnership, you're growing in different directions, that can become a really big problem. So you have to communicate with them at all times when you're feeling this insecurity, or maybe they're doing something that's making you feel jealous that isn't the norm between the two of you. Something's altered.
So obviously the idea is to talk about it. Don't wait for it in the bedroom. Talk about it ahead of time,
Right.
tweak it ahead of time so there are no misunderstandings, because that's what I'm sensing from you. A lot of this stuff can come from and lead to, on the other hand, misunderstandings. Great stuff. Coming up, the importance of staying connected and lots more. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca show, where we bring you expert advice on important matters to help your relationships be more intimate, exciting, and emotionally fulfilling. We've been discussing jealousy with our special guest, dating and relationship coach, dear Sybersue. Relationships go through many stages over the years, so to remain connected through those changes and maintain a stable and healthy bond, couples have to communicate their feelings. Can you please comment on ways that couples can do that and maintain that connection?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, what I find is very important in a relationship is to keep everything alive. The fire's burning, so to speak. And so what you have to do is you literally have to put stuff on a calendar. You have to say, plan things. It sounds boring, but you've got to plan things for date nights, regular date nights. And I don't mean just going out for dinner. I mean sexual activity as well. And a lot of people think that because they've got their partner already, that it's not that important to keep that up, but it's super important.
To maintain that connection. Well, since you
Yes.
brought up sex, let's go there next. You knew I was going to go back there anyways.
Sorry.
People often put sex on the back burner, so I'm glad you said that has to be part of it. Or worse, sometimes they use it as coinage for reward and punishment, both of which can lead to disastrous results. So can you please talk about the importance of sex next, since lack thereof can generally lead to situations where jealousy will definitely pop up?
Yes. Well, the one thing that if you don't maintain an active sex life with your partner, this is when a lot of infidelity comes into play. So when that happens, and it ends up being caught, and there's becomes this trust issue within the partnership, that also is huge, and it's hard to get back into your relationship. So to keep that from happening, you need to have regular intimacy and emotional connection with your partner. And a lot of people take it for granted, think it's okay to let it go for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Really, it should be a weekly. Some people will kill me for saying that. They'll say like it should be 5 times a week. But let's be realistic. Be realistic and say at least once a week, even after long-term togetherness. But
And
people put it aside.
That's it. Lots of people, and some people will say to me, "Oh, it's just sex." And I say, sex is like money. You can try to downplay it, but try doing without either, and you'll find out how important it is. And I'm glad that you emphasized the regular nature, because we do produce all those feel-good hormones, and oxytocin, it lasts for a while, and a lot of people around the day 3 or 4 mark, they start to feel a little disconnected. So even if they're kind of making out, that's really, really important. And you also mentioned cheating. Again, I'm not suggesting that anyone makes someone else cheat. That's a choice. But it's usually, they stop feeling special at home. They stop connecting. Intimacy dropped. Then somebody else gave them attention and off they went. It wasn't even necessarily intended. So you want to change that, you have to obviously change the context.
Right.
But we get disconnected because life has many ups and downs. So we don't always feel happy with where we are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And it's those very moments when we're not feeling good about ourselves that we start to worry that our partner may be thinking lesser of us, because we're thinking lesser of ourselves. And whether the partner's thinking of that or not doesn't matter. And that feeds into our insecurities, and that in turn feeds into jealousy, like you said. So can you please comment on how we can nourish our connection with the self and our partner so we don't end up there?
Well, the first thing is to always be comfortable with who you are. So that means keeping outside things in your life active. It's not just about your relationship. It's not just about your job. It's about all aspects of your life and how they intertwine together. So you need to keep all those things sort of happy and diverse. The more diverse you are in your life, the less time you have to dwell on the small things that drive you crazy, which like jealousy or wondering if your partner's still into you. And if you keep the sex alive and an emotional sense with each other, you don't have those doubts, because your partner's getting what they need, and you're also getting what you need outside the home. So it's a nice, happy balance in your life.
You're right. It's all about the balance. And if we are connected, we're not as worried. I know this
Right.
couple, every time you see them at a party and they're hosting, they're a consummate host. So both of them are really busy making sure everyone is having good time. So they're not necessarily spending that much time together. But you see them, their eyes kind of, the proverbial eyes, they catch each other's eye across the room. They'll wink at each other. They'll smile at each other. They'll flirt with each other. She'd be going by with the tray in her hand, and he'll give her a little pat on the butt. And you know that the two of them are really into each other. Nobody else wants to go and interfere with that. Nobody's hitting on either one of them. And they are so comfortable that they're not worried, even though the partner isn't attached at the hip. So you make a really valid point that if we are feeling good in the relationship, it's, again, it's lesser of a reason to feel jealous. And if we have this balanced life, again, it's awesome. So ultimately, more often than not, what I'm hearing is jealousy is tied into insecurities with one kind or another. Either we're feeling it within ourselves, so we have to have a lot more control over how things pay out than we might realize. So do you have a quick comment on that before we go to break? When it's coming from within, how can we control it within ourselves?
Sorry, how can we control how
the
we
jealousy
feel?
that's coming up inside us because of our how can we tame the green-eyed monster? So
The green. Well, again, I think it's about how happy you are with other things in your life. If you're not feeling like you're in a really good place, you're going to have all these different emotions coming out of nowhere. So you really have to talk to your partner. If you're having problems, even if it's a sexual hormone thing, you're feeling like, oh, my body's changing. I don't feel good about myself. They're in a better place in their life than you are. You've got a little bit of envy going on. All these things come into play. So you have to talk to your partner so that you stay on the same page and you've got an even sort of teeter-totter, so to speak.
to control your own jealousy.
Yeah, yes. Because,
Awesome.
yeah, because you have a partner for a reason. You talk about things. If you need help with this and just to talk a little bit about it, then you should actually talk to them and tell them what's going on within you. Don't just
Awesome
shut them
stuff.
out. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Coming up, gaining an understanding into those jealous emotions and lots more. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca, a show geared towards making your relationships the best they can be, both in and out of the bedroom. We've been talking about jealousy with dating and relationship coach, dear Sybersue. In our final segment, we'll be discussing some of the emotions that tie into that jealousy. So listen up to see if you can identify with any of them. So you know what needs some work, as dear Sybersue has been telling us. So can you tell us what some of those emotions may be?
One of them is insecurity, sorry. There's fear, which is where you have feelings that your relationship might not last. You're feeling insecure about that as well. You're suspicious. The trust is changed within your relationship. And resentment that they're doing much better in life than you are, or you feel that they are, so you resent them. And so that becomes a jealousy because they're in a better place. You think they're in a better place than you are. Anger, like you're building up emotions about what's really causing the jealousy and you're not talking about it. So you're starting to get angry and commenting with critical conversations. And then you could be a bit envious of them too, because they're doing better. You think they're doing better than you. So there's jealousy in that.
So in with envy, you kind of you wish what they have. With jealousy, you're worried that someone else is going to take what you have. But it sounds like they can both play into each other. Do you have any words of wisdom? Like, one of the things that I tell people when they talk to me about jealousy is that the conversation needs to include what is and isn't tolerable and where's the jealousy coming from. So it kind of ties into what you had said earlier, that especially if it's sudden. So this is where the person can say that when you spend more time talking to others than to me, I start to feel insecure and I start to feel a little jealous. But these are conversations that should be had in private, as opposed to what some people do, where they have that big blowout in front of everybody at a restaurant or a party. When they have those conversations, can you comment on maybe the kind of boundaries that might help?
Well, the boundaries are, first of all, you have to respect each other. So when you're out somewhere and somebody's flirting with you, or you're being flirtatious, you have to respect your partner, because you don't want to go and fight their battles if somebody's coming up and being flirty or anything like that. You want them to be able to handle things on their own. You don't want to come in and try and be the controlling person. But in the same breath, you shouldn't have to do that. We're in a really nice, healthy relationship. It should be where the respect is so strong and that you don't have these trust issues, because you're reacting the way each other would react, in a good, positive way. So you're being, do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And sort of putting yourself in their shoes. And if somebody's hitting on your partner and they're not responding, you shouldn't really be getting upset with your partner. The other thing that I want to throw out there is that when it comes to flirting, it doesn't necessarily have any intent behind it. I used to always come to this red light. I had this particular appointment, always red light, same homeless guy, and I'd give him a toonie, and one day sitting there, he doesn't even look up, and I just said to him, hey, you know what? We gotta stop meeting like this because people are starting to talk. He knew I wasn't trying to pick him up. I knew I wasn't trying to pick him up. But that comment, it made him feel like a human being. It made him feel good. So it doesn't even have to be sexual. I just wanted to lift his spirits and elevate him to that level. And he felt good. And he said, you just made my day. And so sometimes it can be something like that too. So are they friendly with everybody, or are they just friendly with certain people, the babes and the hunks, or are they friendly with everyone? Really important stuff. Before we wrap up the interview, are there any key points or messages that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, dealing with jealous emotions can be a good thing. Now, I'm not saying you want to deal with it every day, but it can be a good thing, because it can make you look within yourself as to what's going on. Maybe at that time, maybe something that's been there for a very long time from childhood. You're dealing with abandonment issues, or a loveless childhood, or maybe one really bad breakup that's stuck in you. So you've got to change those behavioral patterns, and the only way you're going to change them is if you actually see that you're jealous, acknowledge you're jealous, and work from there, because it's not a bad thing to have a little bit of jealousy. We all do. It's just common nature to have a little bit, but you don't want it where it's controlling you.
Absolutely not to that level ever, and it is a signal that something needs addressing. Thank you so much, dear Sybersue, for all your remarkable insights.
Thank you so much. It's so great to see you as always, Rebecca.
Awesome. We'll talk again. Still ahead, an email from a guy who's considering having an affair, and 10 things that men do in bed that most women wish they didn't. I know you'll want to stick around for that. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca, geared towards making your relationships more robust than you ever thought possible. So send us your questions, and we'd love to bring you expert advice. Today's question is from Victor. Dear Rebecca, I'm a common law husband in a non-traditional relationship where my wife is the breadwinner. Although we love and respect each other, we have grown quite distant from one another and have almost stopped having sex over the last couple of years. So I seek intimacy through online companion ads and physical gratification through massage parlors. As you can imagine, despite my frustration, I don't necessarily want to change the situation, but sometimes I wonder if I wouldn't be happier with someone else and find myself longing to have an affair, if only to infuse my life with the energy that it lacks because I'm so lonesome and tired. Your thoughts? Victor. Victor, I have so many questions for you. The very first of which is, when and why did you guys start becoming distant and stop having sex? Because that's where I'd start, by fixing whatever got in the way. For a relationship to work, it needs work. For intimacy to stay fresh and exciting, you gotta get fresh with each other and do exciting things together, which almost always impacts intimacy, just as the opposite can take that zest away. The other thing I'm wondering about is, did you guys choose to assume non-traditional gender roles and are thus happy with the arrangement, or were you forced into it due to life circumstances? If it's the latter, that can cause many people to struggle with it. For instance, many women have shared with me that they have a hard time with that, just as many men have shared how emasculating it can feel for them. Obviously, that isn't the case for everyone. Point being, if you guys chose that, I'm really happy for you. But I had to rule out the possibility of this being forced upon you guys, because sometimes that in and of itself can cause one to feel depressed. Barring those possibilities, I'm also wondering about how much time you guys actually spend together, chatting, connecting, maybe even doing fun stuff together, including date nights. We've been talking about those, all of which will keep you from feeling lonely, not to mention keep that frustration at bay. That I'm kind of sensing over here. Finally, I have to say that you looking to fill that void elsewhere can only make the gap wider, not provide energy. If anything, it'll take that energy away. So if you're considering an affair, you have to call a spade and not treat it as something that you're doing for the relationship. Because to me, if you put the energy that an affair is going to take into your own relationship, you might just be able to salvage it, or at least know that things didn't fall apart for lack of trying. It's sad that you can't discuss these things with your wife. Boredom is rarely a solo sport, so she may also be feeling alone and bored and hoping for things to change. Who knows, this might just act as a wake-up call to fix your relationship. I hope you'll chat with your wife either on your own or with the help of a therapist. I've helped many couples get back on track even better than before if they're both willing. Hope you find the energy to feel alive once again without further complicating anything. Good luck to you. To our audience, if you have any questions of your own, do write us. We love your involvement. Speaking of which, if you enjoy the show, we'd really like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Still ahead, 10 things that men do in bed that many women wish that they didn't. So do stick around. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca. Now before we close, as promised, 10 things men do during sex that many women wish they didn't. Number one, since the female brain can multitask all too efficiently, they bring a lot of stuff into bed with them. So they need a little time to unwind before they can get into the moment and be fully present. So do take care of their emotions before the motion. Two, not everything that happens in bed has to do with you. Sometimes women are stressed. Sometimes it has to do with their biology. For instance, 70% of females can't orgasm from vaginal thrusting alone. So if it isn't happening, don't take it personally and make a big deal out of it. They can get performance anxiety too. Three, when you're zoning in on their sweet spot, work around bull's eye and then slowly and gently increase intensity and focus. Pushing it harder and faster won't make it come any sooner than doing that to an elevator button. 4, it's not paint by numbers, so just because you've already worked on an area doesn't mean you don't have to come back to it. For example, those who like booby play need you to work on the orbs as diligently through the final stages as the foreplay. 5, sometimes women just want to connect and are too tired to go through the whole 9 yards to have their own orgasm. So if they just want to have a quickie and skip over their own deal, take it as a gift and don't question it. 6, the female skin is a bit thinner and more sensitive than yours. Their sense of smell is a whole lot stronger, so be gentle with their skin and clean and sweet smelling with your own. Speaking of sweet smells, substitute some fresh fruits for strong smelling veggies and red meat, and they'll be able to blow you away in ways you never imagined. And no, it doesn't taste like chocolate. 7, saying it's never happened before with anyone doesn't make women feel better. On the same note, if it isn't working, move on to something else, no matter how much it made your ex moan from ecstasy, because no two women are alike. So don't treat them as such. They know what's going on when you're gung-ho on a particular move. 8, don't be afraid to use your tongue in all the ways it was intended. Chatting, kissing, pleasuring, and yes, telling women you dig their bod, that counts. Never ever assume that she knows how hot you think she is. 9, don't squeeze women's breasts. Leave that for the melons in the supermarket. And if you're going to use your fingers for anything else, make sure they're freshly washed, since even bits of perspiration can sting their delicate zones. Finally, number 10, the warmer you make a woman, the hotter she'll get. Throw her towel in the dryer, put cuddly socks on her feet, give her a massage with a warming oil. The warmer she feels, the faster her magical moment will happen. So there you have it. Thank you, viewers, for joining us tonight. Be sure to tune in again next week, and don't forget to email us your questions and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch up on missed episodes, to watch your favorite shows again, and to access some hot stuff that can't be aired on TV. I'm Rebecca Rosenblatt, your host, wishing you happy, healthy, and passionate relationships. Until next time.